Good morning. It's Monday morning here, and it's actually a little bit chilly. I don't know about where you are, Mike.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty cold.
Good. Well, I had an awesome week off. I had a little bit of a vacation. It was nice, little cruise type thing. It was very cool. Went with Super Hubby and my sister. We went and just floated off to the world and stepped off the world for a little bit. So that was really nice. What'd you do?
Well, we had Deck the Halls Holiday Bazaar at the Mount Pleasant Civic Center.
Nice.
Shared a booth with a fellow author, Nancy Hudgens, and sold a bunch of books. Had a really good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's always good. So what we have in store for today, since we had our week off, is going to be book reviews. And I know we have off next week because of Thanksgiving. So we're not going to be on next week either. And I can't remember what the week is after that. So I'll have to look in that and figure it out. I think it has to do with holiday advertising, if I'm
I
not
think so.
mistaken.
Yeah. Yep. I
Okay,
think
but
so.
we'll talk about why to do it, how to do it, some little tips and tricks and how to do it. Just keep in mind, authors, that next weekend does start Black Friday and all that lovely stuff. Not this coming, but the one after. So make sure that you've got your holiday stuff ready to go. Mike, what book are you reviewing today?
I'm reviewing Hail Mary, which is I don't know if you can see this real well. Hail
I
Mary
can.
by Andy Weir,
I've
who
never
was
heard of him.
he was the author of The Martian,
Okay.
which was not only a successful book, but it was made into a movie, uh, very successful movie. Uh, had the guy like I had such a terrible names with actors' names now from Goodwill Hunting. Not Ben Affleck, but his partner. What's the other guy's name?
Oh,
Uh,
I knew you would ask. Um, I can see him. I
yeah,
just can't think of his name.
yeah, yeah. My wife says the same thing. But anyway, it's uh, it's a great novel. It's the thing about The Martian when it was written, as we know, as authors, we write in certain genres, and and sometimes you write series, and sometimes you write individual novels.
Mhm.
Sometimes you do both. Well, in Weir's case, when he wrote The Martian, uh, it was really one of those kind of novels, kind of those kind of books that there is no sequel to. There is no. They're just. It was written in such a way that it was not just an excellent standalone novel, but there wasn't really any way to replicate it. It was like lightning in a bottle, if you understand what I'm saying.
Nice.
So he did try to write a couple of other books as well. After that, I don't think he had much success. And then he wrote Hail Mary. And I have to say, I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, because Hail Mary, I think, is as good, maybe even a little bit better than The Martian. And believe me, coming from my estimation, that is saying quite a lot. Um, Now, when we talk about science fiction, uh, which we both write science fiction, fantasy. Science fiction. One thing to remember about that is often science fiction is only a decade or two or a few years away from being sometimes science fact.
Mhm.
So the things that are presented in science fiction books may in fact become you know part of technology in the not too distant future. In
Yeah.
Weir's
Half the
yeah.
time I can't figure out why people who are reading this stuff and see how some of this stuff goes sideways, I'm like, why are you even tempting fate and trying to go into this stuff? Did you not read the book? Did you not see the movie? It's like it doesn't go well.
Right, right. Well, in this particular case, with what I like so much about what Andy Weir has done in both of his books, The Martian and now in Hail Mary, is that he marries actual science, actual science fact,
Mhm.
with what ifs. What if this happened, or what if science developed, technology developed to a certain point? And again, we're not talking hundreds of years in the future. We're talking not in the too distant future. So in his particular case, it has to do was space travel. Um, Anyone familiar with Einstein's theory of relativity? One of the things that he theorized was that uh, time is relative when you reach a certain uh, speed, the speed of light, that
Mhm.
time can bend. Now, that's theoretical, that's not necessarily fact, but in Weir's book, it actually is treated as fact. So, not to give away too much of the store, but in his book, the sun is dying. Our sun is dying. We're talking present day. We're not talking 500 years from now. We're talking 21st century.
Mhm.
And the reason the sun is dying is because they have discovered extraterrestrial life in the form of tiny one celled organisms who feed on the energy of the sun. What's more, they are reproducing at such a high rate that they're eating the energy from the sun and causing it to get colder, which is going to cause a nuclear winter in on Earth within 30 or 40 years, and all life as we know it 95% of it, 99% will become extinct. So,
Interesting.
so there is a desperate, all out worldwide crash where the world actually comes together, where they have a crash program to try to find out how to solve the problem before it's too late and we have the nuclear winter. So, one thing they discover is that the nearby suns around us uh, also seem to be dimming, which seems to indicate that these suns that are within 5 light years of the Earth, 5 to 10 light years of the Earth, are also um, are also experiencing a energy output that is decreasing, much like what is happening in our own solar system. So they have figured out that these organisms are part of that as well. However, there's one sun, Tau Ceti, which actually is within the 5 to 10 year distance, light year distance, that is not decreasing. So the crash space program is to send uh, a, uh, a spaceship to this solar system of Tau Ceti to decide how it is that particular sun is not suffering the same fate as the other nearby suns in our galactic neighborhood.
Now, is it close enough that they can get the information back in time or
That's a good question. So again, trying not to give too much away of the story, but the uh, the trip there is basically one way.
Mm.
So the scientists and astronauts that have been chosen to go will not be coming back. Basically, they will die there. And so it's not necessarily it's not a suicide mission in the context that it's done out of some sort of religious fervor or something, that you're fanatic or something, but in that they are sacrificing their lives to go there, determine why this star is not suffering the same fate, learn the solution to that, and then send that information via space probes back to Earth so that the scientists here can use that to rectify the situation before it's too late on
so,
Earth.
so they're not going there on just like they're going there to be heroes for the entire planet. They're trying to save the planet, but they're giving their lives to
Right.
do it.
They're
And they're
sacrificing their lives.
knowingly doing this.
Yes, they are.
Nice.
What complicates the matter is that they cannot make the trip. Of course, with a lot of science fiction, you see these science fiction novels, sometimes movies, where the long distance over space, where they're um, in a deep sleep, they're in some sort of crypto
Stasis.
chamber,
Mhm.
or they're in stasis. But in this case, they're put into a coma. Okay, the uh, the 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 heroes that are going to discover what's going on and send the information back are actually put in a coma, and they're kept alive via robotics and things like that on the trip. So the main character, when he gets there, discovers that he's the only one that has survived the trip.
Oh
So
no.
the others that were supposed to be helping him, uh, something happened to the program. Something happened. They are both nothing but mummified bones when he gets there, and he's
Whoa.
waking up. So now he has to do it all himself.
That
So
sounds really good. I mean,
yeah,
how would you feel waking up to that? I would be like, well, this sucks.
yeah. And like I said, there's a lot in it. Weir, what he's done, he's married a lot of science facts with speculation. Relativity, for example, in his space travel in his novel here, uh, actually you lose time going to Tau Ceti, but the
Mhm.
probes going back actually gain time. So the distance to get
That
there,
bending time thing, is that what
yes. So
yeah.
it kind of messes with your head because you've actually it actually took even traveling faster there, you lose more time than the space probes coming back traveling at the same speed. It has to do with the relativity of time and speed.
So, I mean,
And
he not only has to do this himself, so that's like 3 times the amount of work, but he has to do it and stay sane. There's nobody for him to talk to.
there isn't until he discovers that there is another spaceship there from another star system suffering the same fate that
Oh, sneaky, sneaky.
they're trying to do exactly the same thing that the main character is, and
Interesting, it sounds
yeah,
really good.
right. It's what I enjoyed is that everything he from I taught science for a lot of years, and most of the way Andy Weir puts his books together, both The Martian and in Hail Mary, is not in like we do in fantasy where you have things that are fantastical, and you only limit your imagination. In this
Mhm.
case, uh, the science that he presents is actually real science, and it is in the realm of possibility of the situation that he's presented. So it's not that far fetched, if you understand what I'm saying.
Interesting. That does sound good, and what was it called again?
The name of the book is called Hail Mary, Project
Mhm,
Hail Mary, and is written by Andy Weir. And I highly recommend it. If you have not written, or I should say, if you've not read The Martian,
mhm.
I would read that one as well. The Martian is his first book, two separate, completely different novels. And I got to say, the Hail Mary was as good or better than The Martian, and I just didn't think that was possible. So that's high praise indeed coming from me.
Wow, that is that's really cool.
Yeah.
For my book, I chose The Preparations by Danielle McDonough. She's a fairly new author. There are 4 in this series. They are all 4 out. This is the first book. It's called The Preparations, and the series is The Legacy, and it's actually really interesting. If you've seen Divergent, it's kind of like Divergent meets Hunger Games with an interesting twist. There are different factions, and each faction has its certain, lifestyle, that sort of thing. And every 50 years, they get together and they figure out who the clan leaders are by running this competition. And at least 3 out of the 6 members have to survive. So you don't get to pick who your teammates are either. The elders, current elders, the ones head of the clan, are the ones that pick the teams, and they pick, how they're going to be separated and that sort of thing. They watch you over the course of this 6 months training, and then you have to actually qualify. Your team of 6 have to actually qualify. So you don't even know who's on your team until the day that everyone's chosen. You have hope, and you have to go to these different areas and learn different things throughout these 6 months to survive this test. And like I said, at least 3 out of 6 have to survive. That's kind of part of the Hunger Games issue. I haven't quite gotten to the point. At the end of this book is where it starts in the challenges, and so I'm looking forward to reading the next one. But it's got an interesting twist to it. When it comes to like the Hunger Games and Divergent, it's all the ones from the undergrounds. It's the what not undergrounds, the the least likely to be picked sort of group. And this one actually follows 2 highly skilled. And so the one thinks she knows it all and she's got it all and she has something to prove. and then the other she's one of the elder's daughter, and then one of the elder's sons feels he's not worthy and that this other girl is actually more worthy than he is to lead the group, but it turns out he ends up leading the group, which causes a little bit of a twist in it. But they've
Hmm.
prepared for this pretty much all over their life. And when it finally is announced, because they never know when it's going to be announced, and there's only a certain age group that's allowed to even prepare for this. So if you're older or younger, you can't even vie for this position in the clan as one of their elders. So it's a little bit of a unique twist. I liked it. I actually enjoyed it.
Sounds
I
like it
ki-
has a strong Hunger Games vibe to it.
It
Yeah,
does. Like Hunger Games meets Divergent is kind of
yeah.
more where it's at. But I can understand it. It's like it explains their past and how they went through this dark phase and how when they came together, they were able to separate into these different groups and the community was allowed to build, but they had to start with these elders. And when these elders had the darkness in them, they took too much there was too much darkness that they had to be replaced, and that's where these games came. And like I said, every 50 years they change them out, but it doesn't say what happens to the elders when the new elders come in. And that's what I'm wondering is does something happen to the current elders that are still alive? How does that work? So I'm really curious to dive into the other three books. Danielle does really good in presenting, feelings and thoughts. It's pretty much first person through just the one person's mind, and so it's unique. I like it. So I'm excited to dive into the next ones.
Wow. Okay, well, sounds good. I mean, we've met Danielle at some of the book events we've been
Mhm.
at. Yep. So,
Yep, she and I did a book swap,
okay.
and so I've had him for a little while, and I have quite a few over there I'm gonna be reading through to do our reviews, but I really wanted to dive into this one. Like I said, her 4th book just came out this summer. That's the end of the series, and so I'm kind of trying to get through the other 3 first, but I wanted to read this one to see where it was going, and I actually like the direction it's heading.
Wow.
So if you like Hunger
Okay.
Games and you like Divergent, you're gonna actually love this series.
Very. And of course, those have been some hot genres. The Divergent, Hunger Games, the whole dystopian.
Mhm,
That's been very popular now for what, 5 or 10 years.
and it's just
Yeah.
slightly different enough that it's not like a copycat. There's
Right.
certain things in it that make it just different enough that it's not the same, that it has its own road to go down.
Right. Right.
And I'm curious
Okay.
to see where she takes it because, like I said, you don't know what happens to the other elders once the new elders are chosen. And considering 2 out of the 6 are elders' children's, I'm kind of curious to see where it's heading.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, uh, well, she's prolific, just like you. I think how many books has she written? 6 so far.
no, she's got 4.
4.
Mhm.
4. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
Uh,
have 16 novels and working on 2 children's books and 3 anthologies.
oh
Just a few.
wow. Just got 6 and working on the 7th, so I'm way behind. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
mine's just like I said, the way it ended up coming out and in the wash. But either way, when you read books, it is super important to do book reviews, and I will be putting one up for her later. Um, but to do those reviews, I was just talking to one of the authors from Texas Sisters Press this morning who's getting a little frustrated because she goes to look up her book and it's not listed. And I said, I think the magical number is 10 before Amazon starts, kind of fitting you into the algorithm. So reviews are super important. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be this dissertation. It doesn't have to describe the whole entire story and try not to put spoilers. Just, you know, did you like it? If so, what's the stars, that sort of thing. And, try to be um if you do have something negative to say, try to be constructive instead of destructive
That's a good point.
because
Y
authors do read those.
it's, one of the things that, if you are a independent author like we are, and that's 95% of all published authors,
Mhm.
reviews are important, and they do Amazon, the largest, you know, publisher of books and largest marketer of books. Uh, I think 80% of all ebooks are through Amazon,
Mhm.
but their algorithms are directly related, among other things, to the number of reviews you have. And it's not necessarily related to favorable reviews as much as it is to the total number of reviews,
Mhm.
as you pointed out. One of the things I think that authors can do that I have learned myself, I've learned because, you know, we have to do our own marketing. Many of us go to book events. You know, we've been to several together,
Mhm.
and one of the simplest things you can do to try to increase reviews is when you're at book events and you're selling a book to someone, you know, that has come to your booth and wants to buy your books. Ask,
Mhm.
ask them to do a review for you. And I was a little reluctant to do that when I started uh, writing several years ago, because I thought, well, that's a little bit over the top, but it's really not. Most of the time, if you'll ask the authors, if you'll ask, I'm sorry, the reader to
Mhm.
do a review for you, more often than not, they will. And I know that for a fact because I have made it a point over this particular year to ask uh, readers who have bought my book to do reviews. And about half the time, uh, well, most of the time they say they will, but about half the time, maybe a little less, they actually carry through on that. And so all you have to do is simply ask. If you don't ask,
The
you
answer's
know,
always gonna be no.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Mhm. But reviews are like a Christmas present to a lot of authors. A lot of times when we feel discouraged and whatnot, we kind of take to those reviews. So I have a few set aside for those days where I wonder, why am I writing this stuff? It helps
Mhm.
out immensely and keeping you focused, keeping you going, okay, yes, somebody's actually enjoying this. And like I said, the reviews don't have to be this overly elaborate thing. It doesn't have to be this, don't crucify the author. Just, give your opinion. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? Don't do spoilers for those who want to read the book. You don't want to hurt somebody else's reading
No.
experience too.
And I think that may be one of our topics in the future is to dive into reviews and how you go about that.
Mhm.
That would be something that I think it's a whole lot easier than people might think.
Mhm.
You know, it's not that hard. And like you were saying, you don't have to write a dissertation.
Mm-mm.
Uh, you
And
know,
if you got it at a book show, say, "Hey, I bought this book at a book show," because on Amazon, you're not gonna be listed as a verified purchaser because you bought the book elsewhere, but just make sure to clarify, "Hey, I bought it at a book show,"
right?
so that they know that, yes, you did buy the book.
Yep, yep. And good point there is that we often have, and we've had the holiday specials coming up. We often will reduce our ebook prices to
Mhm.
99 cents. And a 99-cent purchase is a verified purchase on Amazon just as much as a $15 paperback,
Yep,
you
as a
know?
matter of fact, I literally just did mine yesterday. My Christmas sales start on Friday the 20th. All of my ebooks are gonna be 99 cents. There are some paperbacks. I have a series starter pack where the first book in each of my series is gonna be only $10, and then my children's books, paperbacks are gonna be dropped to 8, and my Christmas novella is dropped to 8. So
Right.
I try to make sure each person has a little bit of something, but yeah, when those ebooks are down to 99 cents, it's a verified purchase. Go for it.
That's right. That's right.
Load up your Kindle. You don't have to read it now. You can read them throughout the year. Load it up now and read them as you go.
And if you're in Kindle Unlimited, same applies.
Mhm.
You know, if you're in Kindle Unlimited, and as you know, you can have so many books, you know, you could read page reads. That's a verified purchase as well. You know, so and it's very important to authors. So I'm not sure. I'm sure Andy has received, well, I know he has thousands of reviews, but he is an
Mhm.
established author and has a major publishing company. So,
Yeah, and
you know,
Danielle is working
just,
on it.
yep,
She's an independent, so she needs, all that she can get, and her name is Danielle McDonough. It's Danielle, last name McDonough. DONOUGH.
That's right. So
So, and we,
indie authors, you know, the reviews are extremely important. We have to work a lot harder, and Danielle would appreciate the reviews just like anyone else would.
mhm. We would too, if you
Yep.
happen
Oh
to
yeah,
want our Christmas
yeah. Sure.
specials,
Why
go
not?
for it. We'll take them
Right.
too. I'm just saying.
Right.
We
Right.
enjoy it and it lets you get an escape from real life because as we know, stress is like magnified lately with this whole COVID stuff. So,
Well, and we've proud well, there's people that have bought our books that maybe haven't written a review, but
mhm,
they did purchase the books from Amazon or they purchased them at a book event. Still time to go back and write a review. It doesn't matter if you read the book a year ago or a week ago.
mhm,
The review will be just as valid.
definitely. And definitely is wanted, especially come Christmas time. You can consider it a Christmas present to your favorite author.
There you go. There you go.
So, well,
Yep.
like I said, next week we are not going to be on. We're taking off for Thanksgiving. So we will miss you. But we'll be back the following week to talk holiday specials, why to do them, why authors do them, how to take advantage of them if you're a reader, that sort of thing. And we will see you then. Mike, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I just everyone may notice I've got technically correct green screen behind me. Have a little technical issues, so it is green. It's just not screen. So hopefully I'll
No,
have hopefully have that fixed by next time.
we're working on it. Until
Yeah.
then, y'all, have a good time and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.